Welcome back to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we're continuing our conversation with Merlin and Eamon. So when somebody asks me this, I always tell them that I believe in the 12-step concept of a power greater than yourself. Do I believe everything that Jesus said? Yes. Do I believe that he's the only way to the next world of honor or whatever? No, I do not.
No.
Okay, absolutely. And people will push me that I'm a Quaker. And one of the Quaker things is we see that of God in everyone, the divine spark in everyone.
Yeah, I think that people interpret through cultural beliefs God into different things. You know, Catholics have God split into God and archangels and saints and all these figures, right? How is that any different than the Greek pantheon? How is that any different than the Celtic pantheon or the Russian pantheon or like the Hindu gods and goddesses, or all of the wide varied beliefs of Native Americans? Like there's so many different interpretations, and that has to do with your cultural lens and has nothing to do with what you're looking at. The same light looks different when it's filtered through different glass. It comes through a prism and is fractured into so many different spectrums of color. And that's what we do with the divine. What we see as red or brown or green is the same white light.
It's correct.
Just filtered differently. It's reflecting differently. We're seeing it from a space of perspective, not through truth.
Jesus told the Pharisees, besides calling them a den of vipers, he said that they were like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, dead on the inside.
Yeah. And that's what the modern day Christianity has become. They're Pharisees. They're nothing more than Pharisees.
Well, the first thing when Pope Francis was not sure that if they had a chance, they would have changed their vote. The first message that he gave when he addressed the Curia, the College of Cardinals, his first statement to them was, "You have lost your way."
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a reason that people within the church were not allowed to read the Bible for a very long time. Some still don't to this day, because they prefer to get their Bible filtered through some dude on a stage.
Well, it was in Latin until the 1960s.
Well, but they weren't allowed to learn
No,
because they
no.
didn't want them reading that
No.
book. Because if they learned what was actually in the Bible, they wouldn't be able to be manipulated nearly as easily.
An educated populace is dangerous.
Yeah.
The first thing Adolf Hitler did was close the libraries.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think they've completely stripped the Department of Education today?
Mao Zedong executed the intellectuals, the elites in the universities.
Yeah. And I firmly believe that without the Nazis, without, Hitler, we would be so far ahead on queer rights, because one of the first things that they did, besides, with dealing with the intellectuals, they went after all of the trans research and they burned all of that knowledge. We had so much knowledge. We have no idea.
Yeah. And think of how much of the current attacks are based upon this sort of false perception that this is new, or that this is some kind of new indoctrination or new fad or whatever you want to position it as. And it's like, when you actually are knowledgeable and you know the history of how deep and extensive the trans community has existed. Like it's
existed as long as
the Native Americans called trans people two spirits.
Yes.
And
they considered them special.
Yeah. And trans people and queer people have existed as long as humanity has. We're not going anywhere. You could literally kill every single one of us today and a new one would be born tomorrow. There's nothing you can do about it. We will always be here because it's an echo of nature. We are we don't need to reproduce. The world is overpopulated, guys. There's a reason we're here. There's a reason there's so many more of us, because nature is trying to stop us overpopulating the planet. We are an answer to a problem we created.
Why do you think that some people who were born white think they're special when actually it's just an accident of birth?
It really is. Like, I don't understand why, especially because you look at some of the people who think they're the most special and the best versions. It's like, you're the trash of humanity, dude. Like, who are you to look down at anybody else? Like, at best, you're equal. But I don't even think everybody that's feeling that way is nearly to the level of some other people. And that's not because they didn't start at the same level. It's because the other people have done more with their lives.
Well, and also like what going back to like how if you don't have a diverse community with you, if you don't have people and everyone looks like you, then why would you think that like where does that mentality then come from that you are this special, being when you are all the
And I
same?
think that's why,
And,
I think that's why queer people and trans people in particular are so villainized. It's because we had to question their standard and we found it lacking. We found like it wasn't enough for us. It's not who we are. We don't fit your mold, and we're going to challenge your mold, and we're going to come out on top.
So how can we get across to the general public, the general people that are listening to this, that we're not making that people the enemy. We're trying to educate people. How can through your platform, how can through our platform, how can we help people educated and that we're not fighting against anybody, we're cease fighting anyone or anything.
yeah.
I think that we have to first acknowledge that we are all human. And like we are fighting against ideas, not people.
Hi, Jim Ellermeyer from Fishing Without Bait, the behavioral health therapist who helps people explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. As most of you know, I'm in long-term recovery from drug and alcohol addiction, and one of my favorite things to do is have motivational talks at rehabs and various places where I can be of use. Now, contrary to popular belief, 12-step recovery is not about drugs, alcohol, gambling, or the 100 other groups that use 12-step behavioral change techniques. It's about having a change in your thoughts and a change in your actions. If you're interested in having a motivational speaker with interactive audience participation, we would be glad to provide that. The message that can interest people has to have depth and weight. And if you'd care to discuss that with us, if you'd care to discuss that with me, we'd be glad to show you and give you some information and tell you maybe some videos about our behavioral change techniques and how we incorporate that into our talk. You can find out more information from fishingwithoutbait.com. Say that again, please.
We are fighting against ideas and not people. And one of the reasons that is important to differentiate against is because people who are fighting against the queer community are fighting against people. They are looking at people who are daring to question their status quo and who have broken free of their programming and decided to take their own life in their own hands and craft it into what they want it to be. And they are trying to take out the people who are representing that you can break out of that mold. You can question things. You can be somebody other than what society has told you have to be. We are not on predetermined paths. Life is what we create out of it. And we are proof of that. The queer community is proof of that.
I like the way you're talking, Merlin.
And because we are a flag of hope for people who don't know they can do that yet, who are still under that thumb of gender and sexuality oppression.
So where can this platform, where can we refer people to get the resources, to get the knowledge that they need?
It's June. Find a pride parade.
Yeah, it's a great month to do it, honestly.
Like I said, find a drag queen. Go to a drag queen bingo or story hour or a brunch, a drag brunch, or a drag show. Find the community, because we don't look at people and shun them. The first thing we do is make space for you. We only kick you out if you cause problems. And it's like you have never felt accepted somewhere until you have been given a hug by a drag queen, because they embody love. That is who they are. That is the center of everything that is drag. It's art. It's expression of gender. It is expression of giving gender norms the middle finger. That is everything that it's about. It's about just loving yourself and realizing that it's not just people who do drag who are in drag. All of us are. All of us put on costumes every day and go out into the world.
So share about what you and Eamon's life is like now after 4 years being here in the city.
A lot.
We've been through a lot in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has brought us up and torn us down, and everything in between. We are coming up on being together for 10 years. Yeah. Being married for 8 in October, and doing that here, someplace that I can walk down the street and look how I look and be fine. Like, somebody might get mouthy at me, but hey, and I have a cane. If you want to walk up to me at 6'4" with a cane in my hand and really think you're going to come out of that on top, go right ahead. But I don't have to worry about people pulling a gun on me so much here. It still happens. People still have them. But, it's not nearly as prevalent as it is in Texas. I have gained circles of friends and lost circles of friends. It's Pittsburgh. It's so strange because Pittsburgh feels like such a unique city. We have had so much opportunity here and have developed so much as people. I think our voices are more clear now. Like, we've been doing our podcast for 3.5 years. We've, got over 240 episodes, I believe. Like, just sitting down and talking to each other, and we have really learned how to speak our thoughts on something, whereas I think I held a lot back before.
Same.
And I've learned a lot how to speak up for myself, speak up for other people who I see are going through a hard time and are maybe getting backlash from the public, because we do a lot of reality television. So, somebody will do something a little silly on reality TV, and then, well, okay, look, we know this person has been through trauma. The way that they're acting is probably a trauma response. So maybe have some empathy for this person going through this. Or actually, if you watch their behaviors, this person's autistic. Which very likely. I do improperly diagnose people on reality television without any sort of experience other than I am also autistic, so I kind of know what it's like.
It's all about being inquisitive.
Yeah, exactly. It's about in a lot of ways. It's about that curious intelligence. It's about reaching out to people and learning about them instead of making an assumption about what they're thinking and what they're doing and whether they're a good person or a bad person just because they did something on an edited television show that was put together to create sensation and not truth. Like, it is creating empathy where no space was created for it.
Well, you two are just absolutely delightful.
Thank you.
We tried.
we did try.
What type of a message are you going to send our audience off with tonight?
I think just based on the conversation we were having, like, I think, living life freely and also like not being afraid to change at any given moment. I think broadly also about like us moving to Pittsburgh. I think that's what I've really enjoyed, is that I've really explored things that I, fell off of, and things that, interest and other things that I thought were maybe dead at a certain period in my life, but found new ones as well. Like, I think there's always, you're never too young or too progressed or too old or whatever to change or to reinvent yourself or try something else. So I think, having a personal freedom in that regard more than anything, I think, is probably the message I would give, because it's just so fulfilling.
I think the most important thing I can send people away with is that it's incredibly important to find your voice. It's incredibly important in your life at some point. Find that voice, find the way that you can speak into the world, whether it is just in your community, whether you start a podcast. I mean, you don't, not everybody needs to be a podcaster. Some of y'all need to put the mic down. But I just talk to people and learn from each other and be curious, and remember that everyone is putting on at least a little bit of an act in the world. RuPaul Charles is very, very famous as saying, we're all born naked and the rest is drag. We all are just humans who put on a costume every day, who put on labels every day and walk into the world and show people who we are. But it's still through being filtered through a over performance of what we think the world is going to interpret. So just remember that if you're going through something, other people are going through it. Other people are hiding that, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're wearing it on their sleeve. But be curious about what other people are going through, what they've been through, and be vocal about what you've been through.
What would you two say to a young person who's listening to this podcast and they're having some fear and uncertainty about their orientation, about their life, and feeling uncomfortable and feeling like they just don't belong in their body?
I would say going back to, there's always someone that will be that sounding board for you, that will be that ear, that will be that right hand, so to speak. It's unfortunate in scenarios where, especially young people, where that might not be your family and that might not be the people you are closest to at any given moment. I think knowing that with the breadth of the universe, that there is somebody out there that will do that, or probably not, and not just somebody, there's going to be, if anything, hundreds that will do that, if not thousands. I think allowing yourself to have that mindfulness of self, to understand that you are like again, that larger conversation, that you are a human in this world who is living and growing, and it is not trying your best, even though society puts things on you to not live in fear and to not live in an idea that you can't be something. I think it's incredibly difficult. It's part of why I think the struggle of the community is so important to teach. But it's vital that you always keep that you have that person inside of you, whatever it may be, that is your truest self, and to remain in that, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's the main thing is that you don't have to figure it out today.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you think maybe you could be this or you could be that, okay, maybe you are. Maybe you're not. Maybe it's something else. You don't have to figure it out today. You don't have to go do all these things. You don't, if it is safer for you to sit in the closet and think about it, do that. It's okay. There will be a time when you don't need to do that anymore, when there will be people around you who will love you and accept you for exactly who you are today. And if that's a different person tomorrow, that's okay too. Life is about figuring out who you are today, not figuring out who you're going to be 20 years from now. We can't know that. All I know is who I am today. And who I am today is this non-binary person named Merlin who lives in Pittsburgh and who has a podcast with his husband and who loves life or is trying to and is taking it day by day and just trying to stay on this side of the ground. That's all I know. That's all that I know is true today. And tomorrow it might be different, and that's okay.
Well, you two are certainly well-spoken, and let's not make ourselves strangers.
Absolutely.
The door's always open here, and the light's always on.
Oh, we're so
Absolutely.
glad. We're always glad to be
So
here.
we have a parting gift.
Oh, gee.
Ooh,
We do love
you bought
gifts.
presents. We didn't bring you anything, Jim. I'm sorry.
So what we have here is, this is a really brainchild and a effort by Missy Sorg, although they put my name on it.
Oh, lovely.
It's
Lovely.
It's hefty, too.
It's a journal for every day that
Oh, I
has
love
some
that.
thoughtful questions and some thoughtful quotes and some coloring that perhaps you two could enjoy.
Well, that
Merlin will
looks
definitely
wonderful.
Merlin will definitely be the more artistic one in the coloring, but I love the prompts.
I can't stay within the lines, but that's okay too.
Color outside the lines.
Color outside
Yes,
the
there we
lines. That's
go.
what makes life pretty.
So again, at the end of every podcast, what we have is a free prescription, and that's fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself and forgive another. If we're all not the divine's children, and none of us are. Till all are free, none are free. Namaste, my friends.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.